Today's show is sponsored by a former guest, the FinTech Group, and their solution for cannabis online companies and dispensaries to accept cashless payments. If you own a cannabis dispensary or a cannabis online business, you know that banking laws make it impossible for you to accept any form of payment other than cash. The FinTech Group finally provides an option that was previously not available. To learn more, go to fintechmerchantaccounts.com/marijuana-dispensaries or listen to Raising Cannabis Capital, episode 55.
It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it's very good for skin. So we believe it's going to be big in the skincare industry where, they use a small amount and the cost won't be as prohibitive. Some people call it the stem cell of this cannabis plant because it is the first compound that the plant produces. As the plant goes through its growth stage, it synthesizes the CBG into THC or CBD. It's the precursor cannabinoid.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, how this multi-state hemp company has invested heavily in growing hemp high in CBG, which could be the next big thing in hemp. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are joined by Michael Townsend from HempTown USA. Michael, welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Really excited to talk to you because since the passing of the 2018 Farm Bill in the U.S., hemp farming has just exploded, and it's mostly fueled by the demand for biomass and hemp extract, which I got to say, HempTown USA looks perfectly positioned to supply this demand. To get started, I thought maybe we would talk about how well you're positioned. Let's jump in and talk about your hemp farming operation.
Absolutely. So, I just want to mention that we did start in 2018. We had a crop in 2018, which we've been able to monetize between February and April of this year. Approximately $10 million worth of hemp we grew on 110 acres in Oregon. And this year, we've expanded that farm for the 2019 season to 500 acres. And we're also planting a novel cannabinoid profile, which is CBG, cannabigerol.
Yeah, so last year you did 110 acres, and this year you're quadrupling that, bringing it up over 500 acres. I think I read on your website that you're in a couple other states too.
Correct, yes. We have a joint venture in Colorado where we're actually farming 1,000 acres, of which we have a 50% interest, so net 500 to us. And then also we're in Kentucky. And in Kentucky, we have 24 farmers that are all Philip Morris tobacco farmers that wanted to try hemp farming.
3 states, and I wasn't keeping up with the math, but it's a lot of acres.
1,500 is the number we're using, and
wow.
That's approximately 3 million plants.
Yeah, I was going to ask, just give us an idea of how many pounds would you project to harvest this year?
Yeah, so it's around that 3 million number. We project about 1.24, 1.25 pounds per plant, and there's 1,650 plants per acre. So that's about 2,000 pounds per acre. Okay. And then 1,500 acres at 3 million pounds. The CBD dominant biomass is trading in the sort of $30. Last year we got $56 for our Oregon biomass, but it's very superior biomass, and we timed it really, really well. This year we sort of in our model, we've got it between $25 and $30 in our financial model for the CBD, which we have 2 million pounds of. And then the CBG sells for a couple of $100 a pound. And there's just not a lot of it around. We actually ended up with 43% of the seeds that were produced this year. So we're the dominant player in the United States.
I saw that you made a really significant investment in CBG. You talked about it a minute ago, but maybe just expand a little bit further on the difference between CBD and CBG. Obviously, it's worth more money because it's not grown as much.
It works a little bit better than the CBD. And, on specific things, it's antimicrobial, antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory. It's very good for skin. So we believe it's going to be big in the skincare industry where, they use a small amount and the cost won't be as prohibitive. Some people call it the stem cell of this cannabis plant because it is the first compound that the plant produces. As the plant goes through its growth stage, it synthesizes the CBG into THC or CBD. It's the precursor cannabinoid.
Wow. I mean, you really made a commitment to this. I think you told me that 25% of your plants in the ground right now are CBG
it's even higher than that.
Plants.
1 million out of 3 million. And we paid $2 million for those seeds. Those seeds are $2 each if you can get them, and no one else can get them right now. I think as time passes, they'll become more prevalent in the market. And then we also bought Oregon CBD Seeds test crop of CBG. So they test in the fields for 3 years before they commercialize the seed. We bought their test crop as well. So we got a couple of 1,000 pounds of CBG.
Well, it seems like you've cornered the CBG market. I hear insane numbers for the margin, like as high as 80% margins. Just give us an idea, a realistic idea of what.
Or even higher.
No.
It cost us only about $5 a pound to well, with the CBG, it's $6 a pound because we have to spend the extra dollar for the.
Oh, geez.
So about $6 a pound. Retail, close to $200 a pound. So that's, 95% margins over cost of goods sold. I mean, obviously we have overhead, et cetera, but very high margin product.
Yeah, not bad.
And then, the CBD is also north of 50% margins. And then, so we blend it down. We have more CBD. So overall, our margins are coming in around 75% if you blend the two together.
Wow. That's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
You just finished a round. This is, just continue with your hot streak. Yeah, you hope to raise $18 million. You passed that like partway through. You got oversubscribed. You actually took in $24 million in that round.
24 million Canadian dollars. That's right, on our Series A round. Yeah, we're very happy with that. But we have been deploying capital quickly in order to be a low-cost producer, which we want to be in that low quartile cost producer. We've spent a lot of money on mechanizing. Some millions and millions of dollars have gone into infrastructure to reduce the labor costs, get our costs down so we can be the low-cost producer and supply some of these big brands. The reason we think you haven't seen the big brands come into the CBD space yet is it just hasn't gotten down to that price where they can afford to put it into a can of whatever it is.
I want to take a quick break to thank all of our Raising Cannabis Capital listeners and to remind you that you can support the show by subscribing to MJBulls Premium. It's only $4.99 per month, and you gain access to all previous Raising Cannabis Capital episodes, as well as all other MJBulls produced podcasts and exclusive content, including companies' investor pitch decks. Go to mjbulls.com and enter promo code RAISING to get your first month free. So back to the Raising Capital. I mean, I heard everybody give a sigh when I told them that you'd close that round, but everyone's going to be excited to hear that you've opened up another round. Yeah,
that first round was a convertible debenture, which is typical in a Series A. And then we just decided we wanted to do an equity raise. We needed a bit more money. Actually had a very good acquisition recently. We bought a company called Kirkman Group, and they're nutraceutical. They have been in business for 70 years. They have 400 SKUs. They have a CGMP facility, 25,000 square feet. They have a FDA pharmaceutical manufacturing license, a big platform for us to blend and formulate CBG, CBD products. Plus, they're already doing $6 million a year in revenue, and we think with our skills at marketing and with their products alone, we can get them up to $10 million a year in revenue. So we needed to raise some more capital. We're doing a raise right now of $1.70 US. It puts the valuation of the company at about $125 million US. Okay. We're raising about $15 million US at that level, and we've been in New York last week. We're in New York again this week, Toronto the following week. It's been good. We're taking lots of meetings, and everyone wants to talk to us.
Well, I'm not surprised, especially given the margins and the position that you guys have found yourself in. All of this is tied into potential IPO in Q4 this year. Is that the game plan?
Yeah, we're going to have to make a decision here probably in the next 45 days. There's a couple of banks up in Canada. Canaccord's our lead, that they prefer to see us go to the big board TSX, IPO, get it done faster, get out in front of some of the other groups that may be thinking about an IPO, and then uplist onto NASDAQ in the new year. And then there's other groups we're talking to. We already have a couple of U.S. banks that we're working with, and they would prefer to see it on NASDAQ. We've spoken to NASDAQ. NASDAQ has cleared us as far as hemp goes, now that it's federally legal. If we elected to do a NASDAQ IPO, we would probably get a better valuation, probably get more liquidity, but it would take another 3 months, another quarter. We'll make that decision in the next 45 days. I think it's, the money will decide. Ultimately, if we have a bank that says, listen, here's $100 million, you're going public on the TSX, we'll say, yes, sir.
Yeah, and it definitely will influence investors' decisions right now with this round that you're in the middle of right now. So
yeah, well, we're definitely on the fast track to an IPO. We're doing, we have the auditors engaged, the audit's underway. We're full steam ahead towards an IPO.
Well, you're full speed ahead on a lot of different things. But we've been speaking with Michael Townsend from HempTown USA, and I have all of his information on the MJBulls website, including if investors are interested, we can get you all that information on our website. Michael, thanks for being on the show. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking to any of your listeners.
Well, good luck with this. Thanks for listening to Raising Cannabis Capital. To learn more about today's guest or to become a guest, visit our website at mjbulls.com. Today's show was produced by MJBulls Media, with original music produced in part by Jamie Humiston. I'm Dan Humiston, and you've been listening to the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast.